Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's time for another song lyric inspired song art journal page inspired by a song lyric or a poem or a bit of poetry, but it is a song this week or this month. So I've gone for the Scottish band the Waterboys and their most famous hit, The Whole of the Moon. So the lead singer Mike Scott wrote this song, and it was one of those slow burners. It was released in 1985. I know, 41 years ago. And it didn't really become a hit straight away. It was one of those slow burners that became a hit and was being recognised now as probably one of the best hits of the 1980s. And in 1992, it was awarded the Ivor Novello Award for Best Song lyrically and musically. So there you go. And if you're not familiar with it, where have you been hiding? It's an iconic song of the 80s. So first of all, my first layer on the page, I have this sheet of dictionary paper. It is a proper dictionary page. I've gone into this old dictionary that was going for landfill, going to into the bin, and I rescued it. It's a large one, as you can see, so I thought, no way, I could find a use for that. And I found the page that has the word moon on it. So obviously with the song title being The Whole of the Moon, that's what we're going for. So I'm going to do the majority of the page. We're going to do a real big splodgy kind of, need a big brush, biggish brush, there we go. All over, get the matte medium all over the page. I've done far too much, which is normal for me, so we'll grab a lot of that, just pop it back down there on the worktop. Right, so again, another scorcher of a day today, and I've got the door open, but I have turned the air conditioning unit off, so come on, you're not behaving yourself now, are you? That's the ticket, that's what we want. Right, brush from the middle outwards to kind of eliminate as many bubbles as we can. Like I said, very warm day today, so it means this stuff's going to be drying really quickly. There we go. That's almost all of them out, but it doesn't matter if there's a few. We don't mind the odd wrinkle here and there, as in life. It shows it's lived a life. Just flip that over and just get underneath. There we are. All right, so drop that back in some water. I'll have a quick wipe up here because I don't want to be getting my elbow and stuff in it. Get the heat gun on that and I'll be right back. All right, perhaps I shouldn't have written on the back of the page before I'd finished it completely. But you know, like I said, the page has lived a life already. Alright, so it's mostly dry. I can still feel just on the edges that it's a little bit damp, but that's alright, don't mind that. So if you're not familiar with the song, I have included a link to it below the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube itself, I'll put it in the description in the doobly-doo below. If you're watching this on my website, then it's just below this one. On my blog, it's just below, so you can click and listen. And if you do listen, you'll find that inside that song, which is just tailor-made, it's absolutely stuffed, jam-packed, full of imagery like unicorns, rainbows, ladders, shooting stars, castles, palaces, planets, of course, because it's about the moon. There's loads and loads and loads of images that you can play with this song. Absolutely fantastic. So, mind that wobble. So yeah, but what is the song actually about? Well, when you listen to the lyrics, it's all about looking beyond the horizon, if you like, looking beyond the obvious. So as the main kind of quote from this song goes, I saw the crescent, you saw the whole of the moon. It's all about perspective, and it's all about optimism, it's all about hope, and it's all about seeing the bigger picture and not being confined to a small space. It's literally what the song is all about. It's all about viewing the world with wonder, and not just like through closed eyes, if you like. And I think sometimes, we're all guilty of doing that. So, right, so the two colours that I've got here, they're liquid acrylics. They're Finnabair liquid acrylics. And I want them because they are a little bit translucent. I want this page to show through. So I've got Prussian blue, which is a darker blue, and then deep turquoise, which is a lighter blue. Because we're going to do the night sky, another night sky. Let's give that a bit of a shake up. Some of that pigment seems to have settled on the bottom. And what I've done is I've got an ink blending foam, and I'm going to take one colour first, and I'm going to go around the page really, and I'm going to just go around mottling, because I don't want a uniform kind of black page or dark black. I want a really deep kind of moody blue page, since we're talking about artists and songs. So rather than using a brush, this is why I'm doing it this way. You could use an ink blending foam, you can use a spongy. It's entirely up to you, whichever you prefer, if you're going to kind of recreate or try and recreate something like along the lines of what I've done. But of course you don't have to. You can go in a completely different way if you want. Obviously choose your own song. To quote Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac, you can go your own way. I've got to be careful when I'm talking about song lyrics and that kind of stuff while I'm in the shed, because my electronic music device that you talk to sometimes thinks you're talking to her, and she'll just randomly start playing songs, which can be a bit annoying sometimes. You'd be in the middle of a conversation or something, or maybe recording like this, and then all of a sudden she'll start playing a song that she thinks you've asked for when you haven't really. There is a mute button on these machines. I don't know whether anybody knows about that. There's like a little button on top. You can just press it and it turns the microphone off, so she stops listening. Supposed to. Alright, we'll slow down a little bit now. So I am using acrylic paint, so once this is dry it will be permanent, so there's no kind of worry about it reactivating again, like we would do if we were using, say for example, inks or distress inks or any other kind of water-based ink for that matter. So when I'm looking at this, I think maybe we just need to start blending a little bit more like that now. It looks kind of like it's all starting to blend into one. But when I look up on my monitor screen, I can definitely see the colour variations in it. Definitely see the colour variations, and I can see where it looks lighter and where it looks darker. Let's turn that around. But as far as creating background colours and background effects are concerned, this is obviously just one of many different ways in which you could do it. Just grab a little bit more darker colour in there. I want a bit more dark towards this side here. Maybe just a little bit more in the middle. Maybe just down here. And a little bit more down here. Like I said, you can just use a paintbrush if you wanted to create your effects, but I want a kind of darker sky. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm kind of happy with that colour and the way that is, and you can still see the text underneath it. So I'm going to get that dried off. I'll have a bit of a clear up. I'll utilise this in another journal that I'll just go and grab, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so there's the page. It's all quite shiny. Not exactly what I wanted, but hey ho, it'll do. And obviously it started to curl, what with the paint and the matte medium on there, so just kind of encourage it back out again while we work on the next bit. Right, so I want to add some stars, some night stars. So this is, oh, is that a bit bleached out there? Is that better? Yeah, I think that's better. Right, so this is set number 2 of the travel stencils, the throw in your bag travel stencil. So that's now the second set, which I've now released on the website. So these are available now to purchase if you're wanting. So we've got stars. There's a block text one, a blackout one. There's hearts. There's this fabulous kind of radiating circle. Could also be fossil if you want it to. There's the hex crosses, great for background texture, and also the gothic quatrefoil in the set. So there's those 6 in the set. So if you've already bought set 1, set 2 will take your collection to 12 in the set. There are in the set there are now over 36, but the rest will be getting released a bit later on. So I want the stars, obviously, because we're doing the moon. Oh, talking about the moon. So let's do some stars in the background, and I want some gold. So I've got some De La Rowney System Acrylic Rich Gold. So this was originally Ian's, but he decided that too much came out and he didn't like it. So he gave it to me. I just realised I've used the wrong sponge. I was going to use that for the gold. I've put blue on it now, so I'm going to have to get a new one. Bear with me a second. Oh, dear me. This is the problem when you're trying to do 2 or 3 different things at once. You're trying to remember what it was you want to talk about without forgetting things, making sure you're introducing certain aspects, and then so you've pre-prepared, and then look what happens. Rubbish. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter about the orientation of these stars. So I'm just bouncing or spouncing, if you like, just into that background, and then lifting off again. So we'll do some over here. Just load up the sponge. I did look at some stenciling brushes for this kind of thing, and I ordered 6. Let me just grab you them and show you. So these all came in one package, 6 stenciling brushes. Intrinsically they look really, really good, apart from when you look down at the bottoms. I mean, that one was so roughly sawn. This quality which isn't consistent, even just in the one packet. So I thought, no, there's no way I'm going to be buying these in to sell. Yes, some of them are beveled, some of them aren't. But, you know, so I will continue the search on affordable stenciling brushes, because they're great for doing stuff like this, but also for adding in your gilding wax if you're wanting to do, you know, the mixed media projects and that kind of stuff. They're brilliant for doing dry brushing too. So right, I'm adding some stars into kind of like the center part of the page, because I also got a focal point going in here too. So I'm just going to go randomly around the page a little bit, maybe just a little bit at the top up there as well. I'm not going to waste the gold, don't worry. It will, I'll just put it into the same kind of journal that I put the bits in earlier. All right, so my focal points are going to be based around the bottom and up here. So, right, so I need to get that cleaned off before it dries, because otherwise getting paint off a dry stencil is a nightmare. Acrylic paint off a dry stencil anyway. So you're better off getting to it before it dries. As I'm sure you all already know, if you already own stencils and have used them with paint and not just ink. So if you're new to the channel, these stencils are cut from 350 micron mylar, so they are quite sturdy and quite thick, a lot thicker than some other brands. Obviously I'm not going to be crass and name names, but they are quite thick. You can, if you've got an embossing machine, one of them like Sizzix machines or whatever, you can actually run these through with some of your plates, and they do emboss, so you will get that star pattern showing through on the card if you put your rubber mat and all that kind of stuff in with it. The exact sandwich I can't really say, but because every machine's different, but they do work. As I did say, I'd saved this, didn't I? Let's do some gold on that side. It'll be a nice shimmery page when I come to do it in a few months. Blue and gold. Let's go over the entire thing. I've got enough. Give it like a gold glaze. That'll be an interesting page to do when I get to it. All right, so we've utilised some of it. Let me get this cleaned up and then I'll be right back. I'll try and find another journal because I don't really want to waste all that. Okay, so that's all dry now, but I do want to add some different types of kind of star effects in there. So I'm going to grab my white gesso, mixed with some water. Just grab the scissors there. And then let's just add some smaller white stars in the background. Just because we can. Ooh, that was too big. If you get to it just before it dries, here we go. Better. Alright, that'll do. We'd only used a little bit of white gesso, so we're not really wasting much. And you can't use every drop of paint. It's just unfeasible to do so. Alright, let me have a quick tidy up and I'll dry this off and I'll be right back. Okay, so you saw where I got too much gesso up there and I just wiped it off with a wet wipe and then added some more and then dried it. So there are ways that you can rectify a problem if it's there. But while I was doing that, I just thought to myself, because I used matte medium right at the very beginning, I just wondered whether or not I could lift some of that paint off, or whether it was too far gone now, whether it's too dry. So the gesso's coming off. No, I think the blue paint is too fixed. Would have been nice just to be able to expose some of the writing a little bit, a bit more than what it is now. But you can still see it, so I'm still fairly happy with that. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's start adding in my collage items, if I remember what I've done with my glue. There it is. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to add is obviously the moon. So the moon's got to go in next. So these have already been printed out, obviously cut out, and I did add just a little bit of distressing just around the edges of this. Now this moon, obviously because I'm in the northern hemisphere, then my moon has the figure here with the impact crater in the bottom left. If you're in different parts of the world, you have a different perspective on what you see in the moon, because you're viewing it from a different angle. Most people forget that. Okay, and then down here I've got the image of an observatory that I'm just going to quickly go around. So at the recent Mixed Medium Mayhem event here in Retford, the lovely Sandy Davis, who sent me the Distress Oxide vintage photo, she came up to me, she says, I've got an apology to make. So I said, what? So she said, I sent you the wrong ink pad. It should have been an ordinary distressing, not the Distress Oxide. So I said, oh right, okay. Do you want it back? And she went, no, that's not what I mean. She said, yeah, it's the right one, and gave me another one. So thank you, Sandy. All right, let's get some glue. And then that observatory is now going to go down here on that bottom left, like so. But before it dries, I have a ticket somewhere. Oh, where is it? Okay, let's grab some glue. I'm just trying to work a bit quickly now because I don't want it to dry too much that I can't get this behind. There we go. Observatory number 7. That's the ticket, quite literally. A little bit of glue there, my finger. It's all squidging out, it's all going everywhere. Okay, so on this side, I want to create a little bit of a kind of vintagey cluster with some paper ephemera bits, which I've already cut out. So I'll just quickly whiz round with that lovely distressing. So because these are going to be like the final layers for the art journal page, I'm using the distressing, even though it is water based, because I'm not going to be adding any more water over the top, any more paints or anything like that. So we're pretty much done with that now. So here I want to add a little kind of triple cluster just down there, just so, because it looks like observation notes then. But I've also got like a little constellation piece. So let's stick that one down first. So as far as kind of illustrating the song, I didn't kind of just want to literally depict the song. It just wouldn't have worked. Instead, I kind of wanted to capture that feeling of wonder that runs through it. The observatory is kind of my symbol, if you like, for curiosity, and the moon is kind of like a reminder that there's always something more to discover than first meets the eye. Let's drop that one down there like so. And then the next one. And Mr. Nippy's just come to see me. Right, so we've got that, lovely. And then I've got a little ticket just to show that everybody is welcome to expand their horizons and look a bit further. Lovely. Right, now I've got song lyrics, or the most famous line from the song, and I've done it and printed them quite small because I didn't want the words to overpower. So, again, I'm going to do it actually on the moon, just because, for a change, let's have the words anchored on the main focal point. So if you do listen to it, listen to the song again, if you already know it but haven't heard it in a while, or you've never heard the song, just listen to it with the thoughts that it's all, like I said, about seeing things from a different perspective and being more optimistic in your outlook, seeing the world with the glass half full rather than half empty. Be open to wonder rather than cynical. Oop. Right, and then just to finish off, I'm actually going to put the title and the band as a little attribution underneath. There we go. I think I could come in a bit later. In fact, let's do it now. Never mind, I could do it later. Let's just do it while it's fresh in the mind. And I'm just going to take a little bit of black gesso. I'm still going to use that sponge that I used earlier with the blue. I'm just going to get a little bit of black down here, and I'm just going to just extend that mound a little bit. Just give it a little bit of grounding so it's not just floating in the ether. Maybe just a little bit more. There we go. That just creates a little bit more grounding in that foreground. If that makes sense. I hope it does. And I hope that you've enjoyed watching me create this song lyric inspired art journal page today. I think for me, perhaps that's why this song still resonates after all these years. It isn't really about the moon at all. It's about those rare people who encourage us to look beyond what we already know and to lift our eyes a little higher and just occasionally catch a glimpse of the whole of the moon. That's all for me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.